Welcome back to Chapter 3 of our series, Career Change, Reinvent Yourself at Any Age. In today's episode titled Transferable Skills, What You Already Bring, we're going to explore how the skills you've honed in your current role can seamlessly translate into your next career adventure. So, let's dive in. About half the skills in a typical job posting also show up in roles that seem totally unrelated. A nurse moves into tech support. A bartender becomes a project coordinator. The paradox is this: your next career might already be hidden in the work you do every day. 44% of workers' core skills will change within 5 years, according to the World Economic Forum. That sounds terrifying, until you flip it around. More than half of what you already do can likely travel with you. The catch is that most of us describe our work in terms of tasks and job titles, not the underlying abilities. Think about the last time you calmed an angry customer, untangled a messy spreadsheet, or coordinated 3 people who'd never met to hit the same deadline. On paper, those moments might show up as answered calls or updated reports. In reality, they're clues: conflict resolution, data literacy, project management. This episode is about learning to see those hidden building blocks, so you can stop asking, "Am I qualified?" and start asking, "Where else would these skills be valuable?" Here's the twist: employers are starting to look for exactly the things you've been treating as just part of the job. LinkedIn's data shows that skills like communication and customer service quietly power roles in tech, healthcare, finance, and beyond. ONET, the big government skills database, finds the same patterns across hundreds of occupations. So the question isn't only, "What can I do?" but "How do I prove it without a perfectly matching job title?" That's where evidence comes in: stories, metrics, and small, concrete wins that translate your daily work into future opportunities. Here's where most people get stuck. They look at a job posting and scan for matching job titles or software names. When they don't see an exact match, they rule themselves out. Recruiters don't work that way. They reverse engineer. What kinds of problems has this person solved before, and in what context? That's why skills like leadership, research, and organization show up in wildly different ads, from nonprofits to fintech startups. They're verbs in disguise: led, analyzed, coordinated, negotiated, learned, presented, simplified. Those verbs are your portable assets. The trick is to stop summarizing your work by where you did it: retail, education, operations, and start summarizing it by what repeatedly shows up when things go right because of you. Do people come to you when a process is confusing? When tempers are high? When the new tool no one understands just went live? Each of those patterns points to a cluster of abilities you can take elsewhere. Look at how companies are already betting on this. When IBM drops degree requirements and hires a former restaurant manager into an IT support apprenticeship, they're not confused. They're prioritizing evidence like trained new staff quickly, handled peak time pressure, documented procedures, troubleshot equipment or payment issues, all of which predict performance far better than completed CS degree. Think of a software release gone wrong. What saves the day isn't only the coder who patches the bug, but also the person who organizes the response, updates stakeholders, and keeps customers calm. 3 different job titles, one shared backbone of portable skills. ONET's huge list of cross-functional abilities confirms what your experience already hints at. Your work has been a live-fire training ground, even if your title sounded narrow. The opportunity now is to translate that training into language that makes sense across industries, instead of letting it stay trapped inside one job description. A useful way to spot what carries over is to watch what you naturally get asked to do, even when it's not in your job description. The coworker who's always pulled into kickoff meetings? They're quietly trusted to clarify fuzzy plans and keep momentum. The person everyone texts when the system glitches? They're not just good with computers. They're calm under pressure, systematic, and resourceful. Look at real shifts. A receptionist moves into compliance because they've spent years guarding access, tracking visitors, and following protocols to the letter. A warehouse picker becomes a demand planner after noticing patterns in stockouts and suggesting reorder tweaks. Transferable strengths often hide in constraints. If you've delivered results with too little time, money, or authority, you've been practicing prioritization and influence. In hiring, that often matters more than where you learned it. Your goal isn't to inflate what you do, but to surface the patterns that keep repeating whenever something important needs to get done. 44% of what you're good at will need an update within 5 years, but that doesn't mean starting over. As AI and automation peel away routine tasks, employers care less about where you used a skill and more about how fast you can re-aim it. Policy is catching up. Skills passports and digital badges act like a nutrition label on your experience, making your strengths scannable. Think of your week like a weather map. Where do storms keep forming, and how do you reliably clear the skies? Your next step isn't rewriting your whole story. It's zooming in on the small wins you usually skip over. Those moments, training a new hire, untangling a process, spotting a pattern, are like spices in a recipe. Tiny, but they change everything. Your challenge this week: notice one minor success per day and ask, where else could this be useful? This was Owl Up, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow.